what's up guys, it's Kelly, and before we get into any content I just want to make a small apology. I've been bad with uploading. I didn't upload anything the whole of last week and I really wanted to. I did try. I was really sick when I filmed my Top 5 Wednesday for last week and my April TBR, and then continued to be sick, really sick, for the next 2 days, and then by the time I was slightly better I spent 4 full days at work. So I just trying to find time to edit and then upload was pretty much impossible. So yeah, then I uploaded my April TBR this week, and yeah, now we're here. Work's just been really hectic, so I have been and probably will continue to slack a bit just because I keep getting called in at the last minute, which is great, don't get me wrong, because I need the hours, but like this morning my boss sent me a message like 20 minutes before I was supposed to go in and he was like, hey, can you make it to work today? And I was like, I can, but I need like an hour just so I can get some stuff done. So yeah, it's great that I'm working so much, but also like it does mean that I am having to neglect things that I'm really passionate about, which is not nice, but I'm finding a balance. I'm working on finding a balance. I just, as soon as I have time off, I just need to like batch film a whole bunch of stuff and then like take my laptop to work with me and edit there if need be. Yeah, which is probably what I'm going to do later today. Anyway, you're here to talk about this week's Top 5 Wednesday, the topic of which is your top 5 auto-buy authors. Now, I do want to stress the fact that I now work in a bookshop has seriously changed my book buying habits. Well, not that seriously actually, because I never used to have money to buy books anyway. Now I just have access to a lot more books while still spending no money. But previously I would like save up little amounts of money if there was a book that I really wanted to buy, and I would go and buy it, whereas now I'll just read it at work until it goes on sale. So these are not necessarily auto-buy authors for me. These are more like if they have a new book out, I'm like absolutely desperate to read it and I can't wait until I get my hands on it, and as soon as I have the opportunity to get my hands on it I will read it. Kind of with some exceptions which I'll explain as I go along. But these are also authors that if I find their books secondhand or if I find their books on sale, then they are auto-buy authors for me. I don't care what the book is, I will buy it. Oh, I forgot to mention, these are supposed to be only sci-fi and fantasy authors. I don't actually think I have any sci-fi, no. Mine are all fantasy authors, of course. But yeah, this topic was really right up my street because all of my like insta-love authors, I guess, would be a better way for me to describe it than auto-buy, because as I said, I'm not really buying most of the books. All of my like instantly I see the book and I'm like I start salivating at the mouth authors are fantasy, so this was perfect for me. Anyway, I'm not going to waste any more time, let's just get into those authors. First up, obviously, Sarah J Maas, except I haven't read Tower of Dawn yet. Guys, I don't want to read a whole book of Kale. I know everyone's been telling me that I'm gonna really love him by the end of Tower of Dawn, and I can't. Incidentally though, Tower of Dawn is the only other Throne of Glass book that I own, and I'm just like, I have this book and I don't even want to read it, like why? I will read it towards the end of the year. I've decided I want to do a Throne of Glass reread this year. I'm not sure if I will, it depends on how quickly my ACOTAR reread goes. I do want to do a Throne of Glass reread, so then I'll reread the first 5 books. Then I'll read Tower of Dawn, and then I'll read Kingdom of Ash. And if I don't get through the first 5 books, then I'll just skip ahead to Tower of Dawn before Kingdom of Ash comes out. I'll make it work. I will read it before the end of this year, because I really want to read Kingdom of Ash, so I promise you I will read it, but Next up is Mary Hoffman. I only actually have one of her books, which I'm really sad about because her books are really difficult to get, but that's why I only have one of them. So when I saw it, I immediately snapped it up, and if I ever see any more of her books on sales or at secondhand stores, because I think that's the only way you can get them anymore, then I will absolutely grab them and just devour them again, especially if they're extravaganza books, but I'd love to read some of her other work as well if she has some. I just love her as an author. I love the world she created for Stravaganza, and I'm desperate to get the rest of the books, but as I said, they're really difficult to get, so this is sort of a, if I see one of her books anywhere, I will snap it up and clutch it to my chest, and no one will take that book away from me until I reach the sale point. Next up is Michelle Hodkin. So I got the first 2 Mara Dyer books out from my school library, and then I read the second one and I was like, what now? Like, what am I supposed to do now? And then The Retribution of Mara Dyer came out like 2 years later, and I didn't know. And I was just browsing BookTube one day and someone spoke about this book, and I was like, why didn't anyone tell me there was more Noah Shaw to have in my life? So I literally, like, the next day I went down to Exclusive Books and I bought the book and read it, started reading it that day. it was a good day, guys. I think I have a review of it up on my other channel. I think I might link to it if I can find it. But yeah, like, oh, I love Mara Dyer, I love Noah Shaw, and I love Michelle Hodkin's writing, so she is definitely an auto-buy author for me. Next up is Maggie Steve. Maggie Steve, interestingly enough, was an auto-buy author for me before I'd read any of her books. She was just so highly hyped on YouTube that if I saw her name, I bought books. So I got The Raven Boys because I'd specifically heard about The Raven Boys, and I'd heard that it was good, so I bought this one. But then I also have Ballad, and then I think I have either Shiver or Linger. I think I might have Shiver that I bought just because they had her name on them. Like, I had still never read one of her books. I hadn't read The Raven Boys yet, and I was just like, but everyone says that this lady is amazing, I must buy these books. Didn't know what the books were, and came home with 2 books that were not the first books in the series, so I still haven't read them, and I'm just like, now I have read The Raven Boys, and I'm like obsessed with Maggie Stiefvater, and I need more Maggie Stiefvater in my life, and I can't read these books because I can't get the first books in the series, because Maggie Stiefvater doesn't really get stocked in South Africa. And lastly is Riordan, which is also a bit of a because I'm actually really far behind in his books, and I haven't bought one of his books in a long time. But the reason for that is that I got really far behind, and now catching up seems like a monumental task, because now I need to read all 3 of the 3 or 2 Apollo series books. I think there's only 2, but now I need to read those 2, I need to read the 3 Magnus Chase books, so I'm just like, it's a lot. So I do need to catch up to him, but he's definitely every time I see one of his books come out, even if it's not a series that I've started or I'm busy reading, I'm just like, you go Uncle Rick, like, I love you. I get so excited and emotional and like happy that there's more Rick Riordan going out into the world, so Uncle Rick is definitely deserves to be on this list for me. So those are my top 5 kind of auto-buy, kind of auto-read authors. I do need to wrap this up because I am running a bit late for work. Okay, so my battery just died literally like 30 seconds before I needed to finish filming this video, so I've changed the battery, but I really don't feel like reattaching it to my tripod and all of that. So thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Let me know in the comments who your auto-buy authors are, because I'd love to know. I think it's a very interesting topic, and I will see you all again very soon. Bye!